All right, this will be the 1200 mile video update of my Aventon Pace 500, maybe Aventon, I'm not actually sure how to say that. The bike continues to perform amazing. I have no buyer's remorse at all, so you can see the battery's fully charged. Just do the odometer here. So yeah, 1205. Have found the display to be really simple. I'm not a real techie guy, so I don't care about the apps or anything like that. Nice having the speedometer and the different PAS. The trip thing is kind of fun. And then it's got a little timer on there, which is fun, just to see how far you go and how long it takes. I'd say the biggest thing I've changed since the last video is I've kind of changed how I ride the bike. And what I mean by that is, this is my first e-bike, and it actually goes pretty fast. Well, one of the things that I've kind of been not good at is when you're going fast and you come up to like a stoplight or any kind of crossing, it's got these really good disc brakes. When you hit those, not only does it cut the motor, but it starts braking. Well, if you're going 18, 20, you have to brake pretty hard. And so what I've gotten better at, and I just was like coming up to lights super fast and having to brake like harder than I would have thought. It's like driving a car. You don't want to go 30 all the way till you get to the light and then smash the brakes. And so I've started slowing down or trying to anticipate better if I'm getting to a place where I'm gonna have to stop. And I think that's gonna help save my brakes a little bit, as well as just make for a little nicer riding experience. And I guess in theory it would save the battery a little bit too, because you're just using less motor and you're kind of cruising more. That's been probably one of the biggest changes. This brake, I've never had disc brakes before. They're really nice. This one's basically gone, like it's real spongy. I'm not a real mechanically inclined person, but I'm gonna have it tuned up this week. I think it's probably like maybe air in line or something. There's things you can do and videos you can watch, but I'm pretty sure I would just break it if I tried to do that. So that brings me probably to another point of why I bought this one specifically. Being, a rear hub motor, pretty simple bike. I think I was out the door for like, 1,500, had a bike shop assemble it. For little things like this, I just don't really know how to do it. And so having a bike shop locally that can work on it's really been nice. And they gave me a free 1-year tune-up, and I'm basically at 8 months. And so they're gonna call this the 1-year tune-up, and I'm hoping they cover the brakes. One thing I'll call out that's kind of annoying is, since there's no water bottle holder, I bought this thing, which is like a little adjustable one that goes on there. It's absolutely terrible. I'm sure there's better ones than this. I think I just had this laying around, but it wiggles and it's really awful. It gets in the way, so that would be something. I think they make some that go up here, or probably maybe one down there too. I don't know, but this works for now. Let's see what else. The pedals are super comfy. Like the overall fit of the bike is great. I'm 6'2" and I'm super comfortable. I don't know if it has any measurements on how high the stem is, but it's up a little ways. I think there's still room to go though. So if you were taller, I think you'd still fit and be comfortable. And if you're shorter, I think this is the large version. You might have to look at a different bike. But the other thing about slowing down, so I've changed my overall driving strategy. Like I used to do PAS3, now I'm in PAS2 almost exclusively, so it's a little slower. It allows me to use a lower gear, so I'm in 6, sometimes I even drop down to 5. And it just allows me to pedal slower, more relaxed. And I've really liked that, because one of the issues I think I said in a different video is you feel the bumps pretty hard since you're going faster. And I was starting to feel that in my shoulders, a little bit in my back. And so by slowing down, you hit the bump slower too, and you just feel less of a kind of a jolt on your body. A lot of people I've seen get this switched out to like a suspension seat post, but they're like $100, and I'm just not really looking to buy one of those right now. And so just slowing down a little bit's been plenty. I've definitely noticed. PAS2 is just, you just take in the sights more. On PAS3, you're almost going like 18 or 20, and I was even feeling a little bit of an adrenaline rush, which sometimes you want that, but just on a casual ride around town, maybe you don't want to be, hitting your adrenaline that much. So, whatever works. But I found too is really nice. It's comfortable. I think it's like 14 miles an hour and feels good. Still feel like you're getting where you need to go in a efficient manner. Hub motor still works, great. That's nice. The tires are really nice. I honestly could probably do with smaller tires than they put on here, but no complaints. The tread pattern, I don't know what you're supposed to get, but at 1200, I'm really happy with kind of where they're at. I just don't really notice much tread pattern. I'm in Arizona, which just eats, the heat just eats up the tires on cars too. But yeah, this one's got a little more. I'm sure you can't see it in the video, but a little bit more. But for 1200 miles, I'm really, really happy with the tread pattern. I don't think there's little wear bars like on a car, but I think the tire's like $50 a pop, and I'd have them installed. So not cheap, but not terrible. Let's see what else. Talked about the seat. These handles are really, really comfy. They're like little kind of mini ergos. They're not the big ergos that I've seen other places. I find myself riding with like one finger out. I don't know why. Just feels more comfy than being totally locked in. But that's for me. And sometimes I'll even just ride like that. And can ride no-handed. It's it's dialed in well enough that it's you can kind of ride it no-handed. So it's got good alignment. It feels good that way. Let's see what else. Everything else seems to be working really good. Yeah, the bell, I've got that. Just mainly because most of the bike paths I'm on are pretty crowded, especially now that it's kind of tourist and snowbird season in Phoenix. But it's been nice. The throttle, I initially kind of, I don't know why, but I held out using it. I was kind of resistant to use it. And now I'm absolutely in love with it. Every takeoff, and it's actually touch sensitive. So if you go full throttle, you're going to go up to 20 fairly quickly. If you just kind of go a little bit like this, you can really start to feel out how fast you want it to accelerate, which I usually don't go too fast. So yeah, love the throttle. Being that it's what's called a hub motor, so that big thing in the back is a motor, as opposed to what's called a mid-drive motor, where they actually come in here and like strap a motor underneath. You definitely feel it. Like, it does not feel natural compared to a regular bike. And I went and test drove a mid-drive, and it was very clear. Like, I would consider this like when you're pedaling, there's a sensor in here that basically says, hey, you're pedaling, engage the motor. And then the way it engages the motor is based on whatever speed setting you have. So like PAS2 is like 14, PAS3 is like 18 or 19. It really doesn't matter how hard you're pedaling. It's like an on-off switch. It just matters that you're pedaling. So if you're not pedaling and you're not using the throttle, there's no assist. Then it's just like riding a regular bike that's kind of heavy. If you start pedaling, it just says, hey, motor, give me whatever output the PAS is set to. And so it definitely feels a little, I don't know if I'd call it like a motorcycle, but it definitely feels like you're just kind of being pushed from behind with this motor. Whereas the mid-drive, and again, the mid-drives are more expensive, that you feel a lot more natural. When I test rode it, I told my wife it felt like I had like Superman legs. Like, you just feel like as you pedal, you get a little bit of boost. And it's like you just have the strongest legs in the world. So it's interesting. It's different, but again, the price tags go up quite a bit too. So I think these usually run, $1 to $2 grand, and those I think are almost always over 3, sometimes 4+. So I'm really happy I started with the rear hub motor. Love it. Can definitely see in the future where I would get a mid-drive for sure. Yeah, that's again 1,200 miles. Again, couldn't be happier. Feel like the value is there. The ride is there. I find myself skipping the car a lot, which is the goal. Economically, it's obviously super cheap compared to cars. It's just a more fun experience, especially here in Phoenix. The roads are super busy. I grew up in a smaller town, and so the traffic out here I don't really care for it. So it gets me out, gets me fresh air, gets me nice Phoenix sunshine, a little breeze. Just enjoy it. I don't know. I'm just something about biking versus driving I just am kind of naturally more inclined to. My wife is going to get one of these next. She's not going to get the Aventon. She's going to purchase the Rad Mission 1. A couple reasons she's doing that. One, it's a single speed. You can see this is, how many are on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's interesting. That doesn't seem right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I guess it's probably up here. Yeah, okay, it is an 8-speed. Didn't know that. So there's 8. She wanted a single speed. So just a little bit simpler, you know, less parts. So she's gonna get that. The other thing too is this thing is heavy. We live on the 2nd floor, and I'm a, you know, fairly strong guy. It's heavy. I mean, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie about that. I mean, even lifting it up, you got to really kind of get it there. And I definitely wouldn't encourage someone with stairs to get it. It's heavy, but that's why she's getting the Rad Mission one. It's much lighter and just a little bit simpler. Like those tires I talked about earlier, they're a little thinner. You know, the display's not as nice, but whatever. She doesn't care about that. It's a nice little bike. And the throttle, the thing I'm most curious to see, we test rode one. I love this throttle. It's just so easy. I mean, I usually use, I think, my thumb. I don't even know, but let's see. Yeah, I use my thumb, and it's so nice. Like, it's really simple. The one that she's getting is a twist throttle, and I've not been a huge fan of those. So we'll see. I think she's going to love the bike no matter what, and I could see her not even using the throttle very much. And when she does use it, I think it's on the right, and then you just kind of spin it, and, you know, it's all good. So I'll do an update video on that probably in a month when she gets it and we get it all ready to go. But yeah, still loving this this guy. 1,200 miles, 8 months in. More fun than I would have anticipated. That's probably the best way to summarize that. By quite a bit, in fact. So, like a little kid, which is always fun.